We are now officially live. It is Cinco de Mayo 2024, Sunday, and this is a market outlook call for everybody in the squad. We got myself and Brent Badal in the building. We're going to go ahead and get things underway. So I'm going to pass it to you, Brent, so you can kick us off with the fundamentals and we can get it going. Let's get it.
Yep. Let's get it. Let's get it. So, for once, I haven't said this for a while, and I think it's going to be a really short section for me. We're really not going to have a lot of nothing in the news this week. For once, we're finally going to get a little bit of a chill moment because we've been having week after week after week of just crazy news day after day, multiple newses in the same day, same time frame. But we're chill. So we're really chill when it comes down tomorrow. Yes, we have some FOMC speakers. We have loan officer survey regards to housing, just speaking a lot about the housing market, how it's changing right now. So, but really nothing to worry about tomorrow. Tuesday, same thing, really nothing much to worry about. We're having the tip, but we're not sure what time that's happening. So, really nothing to worry about. This one at 2 o'clock is one that I would definitely pay attention to as far as what move does it do. Not really worried as far as like, hey, we need to make sure we're stop loss are set and this and that because we're going to have a crazy spike. No, but it's really going to be important to know where the consumer credit side of things is, how high really has it gone to really lead into the following days. So Wednesday, we have the 10-year bond auction. So this is really important for the health of the dollar, longevity of the dollar, that type of stuff. Like economics, all that good stuff. So it's more of like the long run stuff is when we see the year bonds. 10-year bond, we have that one. And then Thursday is really where we start going into a little bit more because we have, of course, unemployment. Really, I think the only big day that we have for news is Thursday. We have unemployment claims at 7:30, which is great. Mortgage delinquencies, important. Just again, know kind of where things are laying out. 30-year bond, very important. That happens at noon. But really, when it comes down to it, like actual news to trade that I'm excited for, really just Thursday unemployment claims. There's not really anything else. The rest of the news is just going to be interesting to see. It's the other half, right? Those who trade news with me know that we don't really go for what the news is. It doesn't matter if it's good for the dollar, doesn't mean we're going to sell. Like it's just we go more off the actual analysis of what the charts are telling us. But it's just good to know day to day, just the fact that we're still living, right? We're still human beings. We're still living. We want to know where the economy is with stuff like that, because either or not, it does somewhat impact in the long run where gold could be at, where NAS, US 30, all the pairs that we trade, right? And then Friday, we close out, which I don't trade much on Friday anyway, but Friday, if it's something nice, if there's a new specialty, especially, we'll look at some trades. So Friday, we have the prelim for the consumer sentiment, inflation expectations, and federal budget balance. So for me, actually, I'm not super looking at this one, even though it's red. This is a good one for me. Especially on a Friday at 1 o'clock. That's a little bit sketchy. We usually don't see federal budget balance happen on a Friday, and it's usually orange. So it's kind of weird. It's kind of sus that they're putting it as a yellow on a Friday. This is the one I'm going to be paying attention to. But other than that, super, super chill week. Make sure that you have, if you haven't yet asked for the PDF that Marianne created, right, as far as the tap to trade stuff, at the new page that we added, that third page. Let me see if I can actually bring it up really quick just to look so we could all look at that. Because that third page is very important, especially I know, like Rich said, we're not going to, it's not really as far as like an update side of things, but with the tap to trade and whatnot, it's very important that you guys understand really this third part to make sure that you're following your proper risk management. And what Marianne did here is did the breakdown as far as like examples. So if you have a 100K account, great, and you're getting a gold trade and it's giving you a 3 up on the sell, so meaning 30 pips, being your stop loss is 23, then akashx should suggest you a 2 lot. That's what it should suggest you. For whatever reason, it's more or less than you should be at a 2 lot. If that tap to trade for whatever reason is 60 pip and it's suggesting you still a 2 lot, then you need to drop it down to a 1. It's just a simple math calculation, guys. It's not that this isn't really trading per se. This is more of just knowing a basic algorithm, logic, factor, I don't know, whatever name you want to call it. just to make sure that you're following on the proper risk management side of things. So it's not something that I know a lot of people came in for tap the trade just to literally tap that button and approve, and that's it, and that's fine. But if you really want to get to the long run, if you really want to maximize this, you just have to understand this basic formula. I would say formula is probably the better word for it. This basic formula, if you have a 50K, well, guess what? Then it should suggest you a two lot. And if anything, it should be a half a lot. If you have a 25K, just you keep on breaking down the math, right? If you have a 200K, then it should just be a four lot. So make sure you pay attention to this one, read it a couple times, make sure you fully understand it. If you do not understand it, reach out to the person that invited you into akashx, make sure they understand it. If not, just keep on going. Keep on going sometimes until it gets to an educator, and then we'll make sure that everybody's taken care of, right? But first, reach out to the person that invited you to make sure you fully are aware of that math, of that formula, really to make sure that you're following a proper risk management plan to really maximize that part and live the beauty of what Forex is, right? Forex, we could go ahead and lose three in a row, and we just need one good one. And I mean, we saw that last week. I know Rich and I both individually sent two. We smashed NAS with two trades. I mean, that trade we could have lost probably for the entire month of April, and just that trade alone, you would have made money. Like you would have got all of it back, and you would have made some. And that's really the beauty of Forex, making sure you're doing that right. So take a lot of importance into this page. But other than that, that's it for me. I'll pass it back to you, bro.
Awesome. So we had a question, I think it was directly asked to me from Malcolm about where we can find the PDF. So the PDF, it really just depends like which groups you guys are in within Telegram. So like for example, if you're in iTransform, it'll be under iTransform Worldwide 2.0 resources tab. Um, if you're under akashx Elite, it should be under the resources tab as well. If you want, you can message me or Brent directly on Telegram and we'll just kind of like forward the PDF. It's probably gonna be a little bit faster, but always look at your respective organization to see if they have like on their Telegram sub chats, they should have a resources tab. And if you're part of a team that has not incorporated something like that, I highly recommend from a system standpoint, definitely do it. Well, I'll share screen here real quick and show you what I mean because I think it's valuable. You know, we always talk about systems, right? Save yourself time, energy, and money. And when it comes to organization, you know, trading as it is already a lot. And then when you incorporate a platform like a akashx, there's just a lot. And so we've created a couple different things. So again, for example, if you're in iTransform, you're gonna have this on here, also a akashx Elite, right? So there's a couple different places, and then you'll see under resources not just the tap to trade PDF, but like other PDFs as well for pretty much anything that you need. Again, you can message us directly on Telegram, and we can forward that to you though. No problem. So as far as a analysis standpoint, I'm gonna pull up gold first. I always kind of like to start with gold. Um, and let me take off this indicator because I don't really use that for gold. All right, so a while back, I still have it marked as you guys can see. Well, this was the range, right? But this was really what me and Brent were talking about a few Sundays ago. And that overall, uh, I guess, a higher time frame narrative has definitely stuck, right? Which is, hey, look, you know, we've been expecting gold to finally kind of top out, right? We've had an insane amount of rally, you know, for quite some time. And as the seasons change, as you know, market conditions change and pretty much the hype dying down, right, of gold, we can finally see that this, you know, initial push away and then rejection of this level is just continuing to make lower highs and lower lows. So from a higher time frame perspective, nothing has changed from multiple Sundays ago, where we have an overall, or at least for me personally, right, an overall bearish, you know, mindset, I guess you could say, or perspective on gold until we really get to, I think, this 2200 level, maybe a little bit higher than that, because this is really where, you know, we saw. So you look at structure, right? You're gonna have periods of consolidation, periods where we have a like a breakout, a retracement, right? There's a lot of different things that happen in a chart. And we saw back in, well, let me move this over here. All right, that's better. So pretty much from like December all the way to about March, right? That pretty much first quarter of the year for 2024. We saw gold kind of deciding what it was going to do, right? And then we saw that during March, we finally had that breakout here. And that was really what kind of pushed price. And so key retracement levels and everything that are relevant to where price is at right now. we see this high and pretty much this low. And that was that last pullback before we had this big move to the upside. And so at this point, again, shifting structure from a higher time frame perspective, until we get to this last like retracement level, I will be bearish on gold long term. Again, this is a higher time frame perspective view of the market. So if you're not a swing trader or like long-term investor, like shorting the gold market, then obviously, you're gonna have to really look at smaller time frames and find maybe some buy positions for a short term type of trade. But overall, I think that the probabilities of us winning selling positions, waiting for the market to make some, either fake outs or pushes to the upside during news, will bode well for us to continue riding the overall momentum and trend of gold. Obviously, depending on the strategy you guys employ and everything is going to determine, on a small time frame basis, especially if you're trading with Brent where he scalps the market, that overall higher time frame narrative, not that it doesn't matter, right? But you have to keep in mind that you can have in a certain day a nice bullish move where you're in and out within an hour or less, and that was your trade, right? But I just want to make you guys aware that overall, as a general understanding of trading, that if you're riding with the overall higher time frame trend, right, you're typically going to win more trade versus trying to counter trend something. So again, I know that, people like Joel, Matthew, they like to send trades that may play out over the course of, maybe an hour, a couple hours throughout the night, etc. Then, that would matter more for us to kind of be on the side of the overall trend. Again, if you're trading very small time frames like Brent, then really it's just a matter of, waiting for things like fake outs and manipulation in the market. Obviously, that's going to happen a lot during news, which we don't have a lot of this week. So we can see perfect examples where NFP comes in, and we can see again those spikes in the market, which are great shorting opportunities because again, the overall narrative has been shorting gold, right? Bearish gold. So when we have news come out, we see these big impulses to the upside, right? Guys, we can expect that during news, right? You can't trust it, right? And we can see how pretty much liquidity or stop losses were grabbed here. A lot of people have FOMO. They see price really starting to push and they're like, oh my God, gold's going to start rallying. And then you have this happen to you, right? And so this is what I really like to look for when I personally trade, especially if I was doing gold or FX pairs, is waiting for news or some type of events to really give us like a very strong impulse and basically going against it. Um, so for gold, I think, obviously we just came off of an NFP Friday as well. And typically, like us, I mean, just as my experience, and Brent will give you his side of things now. If we come off of an NFP Friday, I don't expect much out of a Sunday or Monday, except kind of like, I guess you could call it equilibrium, just kind of price really figuring out what it wants to do. Like whenever we have NFP do where we have again liquidity grab number one on the upside, liquidity grab number two on the downside. Those type of news events are literally just to smash everybody out of the market and frustrate you if you don't know what you're doing. Right. So at this point, I don't think that this high is something that can stand. And I also don't think this is a low that can stand. I think that, pretty much this entire NFP day, whether we start to kind of push up, then we'll start looking for buy opportunities. If we start to break kind of like below this, I'd be looking for shorting opportunities just as a general rule of thumb. But we got to obviously let price develop, I would say, over the next 24 hours. I personally, in general, would not really like touching something the day after NFP, which is technically right now. But yeah, I don't know what your thoughts are on that, Brett, especially that you like really focus on trading news with a purpose.
Yeah, same. I mean, gold did what we wanted pretty much last week, which was great. I know we said that a lot. Like, we need a healthy gold. It needs to come down. And it was a beautiful week, healthy week. News was beautiful too, because it ate up right away that week. So now this week, we don't have to worry about a slow retrace. Like, it went up, retraced back, and now we're in that fresh kind of zone, right? Like you're saying, it could go anywhere right now. Preferably, I'm with you. I would rather it go down, have it continue going down, have that last high low be that high low. So really And same thing with you when it comes to like, I don't trade Sundays to begin with, especially not coming off of a Friday of news. It just makes no sense because it's going to consolidate and it's not going to consolidate clean. That's a thing too. It's going to be really a really weird consolidation. It'll come up to where you think you should sell and you're like, okay, down to, and then just to come back for you and then again, and then it'll start here and then it'll start over there. Like it's not a clean consolidation. Gun to my head, I have to trade. I'll take a sell at, for example, 98. I like it at 22.98. Give me 10 pips and I'm done. Like I'm not gonna stay in there for more than that. So there's not even sense to really be trading it. But yes, I'm with you. I would really like to just see maybe that 2300. That's it. Have that be the high and then have it come down. It could come a little bit higher and lower, but then it's going to be a weird, messy week again. There's not a lot of news for it, and where gold is, we should be really good going in for those 30 pips in and out, in and out, in and out. We might be able to grab 60 at once, cool, but I don't expect it really to move much up until that Thursday kind of line. And then Friday, obviously, we should see a bigger move. But same thing, I want gold to go down to that 22. The last previous high was 2277. Let it break that 2277, and then we're all back to 2100, like even down, down, down. But yeah, that's pretty much what I'm looking for. I'll be right back, bro.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. All right, so we're gonna kind of dive now, guys, into NAS, which in reality, obviously, if you guys are following us as educators closely, you know that I'm not even really trading gold actively anymore, just because, again, I've kind of said this already a bunch of times, so this is probably the last time I'm gonna say it, but we obviously have a lot of great educators, and the majority of them are tackling gold, every single day, right? So there's no sense in me, at least from an educator standpoint and like sending out signal standpoint, for me to get too involved in gold. And that's just one of the reasons. But since I've pretty much launched the Liberty strategy that I've been working on since 2024, I pretty much have exclusively focused everything on NAS, right? So if you've been, obviously trading with me, we know that NAS created some amazing, beautiful moves last week. The last signal the actual last trade alert that was sent out was the buys that we had here during the FOMC trade. If you guys recall, we had entries at 17,390 with our typical 50 point or 500 pip stop. That was a trade that smashed all TP levels here and pretty much doubled up from there to about a whole 6-to-1 risk to reward trade, risking 500 pips to make 3,000. So that was the last trade alert we sent for it. And really, I'm bringing that up because it ties into kind of where we're at now. This was really the kind of the first sign of the direction that we were going to go, right? Because I've talked about this on my session and everything, but essentially, if we look at this actually on the, let's say, 1 hour time frame, on NAS from a structural perspective, we had shifted from a bearish market back, pretty much mid-April, right? Making new lows, new lows, new lows until we pretty much stopped here, right? And this ended up being like the last point in the market where we pretty much made the last low at around 17,000 whole level, right? So you can see the psychological clean 17,000 number was very important here. From there, we respected the low and started breaking first to the upside. Then we got that real nice shift of structure here. And then we made this retracement that respected the lows and made a new high. So all in all, what I really wanted to focus on was this last piece of price action, which was looking at pretty much the swing highs and swing lows, right? So we see that we had this high that came here, we had this low, and then here we formed a new high, right? So that was what created this last leg where we had an impulse, a retracement, an impulse, and then a what is to be expected retracement that we expected to push up above the high. And that's really where, this trade and these last couple of trades have come from, basically respecting this demand level here. We saw it pop once with FOMC and then another time here on Thursday. And then NFP Friday just again completely smashed through the high of the range and pretty much finished the overall higher time frame move that I expected for NAS. So again, respecting off this level, we broke once, we broke twice, and then NFP, we finished the job breaking above the high. Now where we stand is that, again, we've already had, consecutive Uh, this we've had consecutive like days where we've just literally pushed, pushed, right? So it's not that we can't have another push day, right? We definitely can, but essentially the leg that I was expecting to, trade off of, which was us breaking this high. Now I do expect some type of retracements. Maybe not all the way down here, like how we had with, this retracement, right? But I think we can at least get to this 17,700 level once again, where I mean you can basically see it marked up as a whole. I'm sorry, a key level, right? Because we have touches here, had this wick into it, price reacted, almost came up into it, and then finally we broke out during NFP. So this 17,700 level for me is very important. And I think that depending on what we do with the range now, that we'll finish setting up at around midnight Central Time, 1 a.m. Eastern, we'll get a better understanding. I have been talking about this other key level that we're currently sitting at 17,900 for quite some time as well. When we were at lower price points to where we were going to come up into here, right? It's just this is actually the strongest key level out of everything that you can see on NAS because you could just see how much price has sat around here. And again, we have revisited it. So whenever we're at a major key level, like this is like a sub key level, right? Because you can see it just covers part of the chart. But this is a very big chunk of NAS from a higher time frame perspective that matters so much with what we can expect next for NAS, right? So essentially, there's two scenarios here that can really take place. I'm gonna see if I drop this to a higher time. Actually, yeah, let's look at 4 hour, right? So we can fit more of the chart on here. I personally think that overall we're still gonna push bullish long term, but essentially we have this key level, and every time that we stay above, we see that we can push up. Every time we've broken below, we see that we stay below, right? So now that we have kind of shown that indication that we want to break above, I think that overall we can see price pretty much gun for these highs. I think that overall Nas was going to respect this level and really start making new highs over here again at around 18,500 whole level. That's again something that will take days, maybe a whole week or two to fully happen. Now, that's just a higher time frame narrative as far as, the strategy that I pretty much use with Liberty. We're waiting for this breakout. Again, we saw on NFP Friday, we cleared the high and just completely smashed through, right? So essentially a trade utilizing this strategy would be the breakout of the high, 50-point stop, and then we target 3-to-1 minimums here. And then you see that it even ran for a little bit more, right? So cool, that trade's done. What happened on NFP is that obviously we get a lot of volume, right? Once we reacted to this 17,900 level, we saw some willingness to kind of reject, right? But we never really came and filled in all of this initial volume, like this imbalance that came in of buyers. We have no sellers there at all. It's just straight buying that took place there. So that is something that I think will, end up being a factor for price to come back down to 17,700 and revisit this to just pretty much balance price action from NFP. But we won't know that, right? Because we haven't finished the range yet here. So I'm going to be waiting for this range to end at around 1 a.m. Ideally, I don't want to trade it during London. I want to trade it during New York. A lot of times during London, we could get a fake out, not just once, but twice, and just kind of keep playing around. So overall, I kind of expect this to happen, right? A nice clean break below 17,900 would indicate some really nice selling opportunities to rebalance the NFP day and tap into this area of demand. And so essentially the trade idea would look something like this with a 50-point stop. And then we target here. This would be more than a 3-to-1. This would be almost a 4-to-1. So this is the before prediction of what I would expect. So, ingrain this in your mind, right? Obviously, it depends if you're going to be utilizing my strategy or not. But I think even if you trade even things like support and resistance or key levels, it kind of has confluence with my thought process at this 17,900 level. Brent, I know that you had to bounce for a sec there. I don't know if you have any thoughts specifically on NAS. I just pretty much
Nas?
gave my take on it, but yeah.
Yeah. I see what you see, but I kind of want this to just keep on going up, bro.
Oh, I'm ready
Like
for it to go up. Don't
the
get me wrong.
the scalper side in me, like that I scalp it in the 1 minute. So like looking at it in the 1 minute, it's a total different look to it versus the 15 minute. Like when I go to the 15 minute, I was like, okay, cool. But you look at it at the 1 minute, and you zoom out just a little bit, it's been doing high lows, high lows, high lows. And I think now it's just where it's at right now, confirm me one more high low and let's keep on bouncing up and keeping going upward. That would be nice. But there's definitely a lot of weaker lows. So like if it wants to go down, like what you're saying, it'll eat, in my opinion, if it goes down, it's gonna easily break through it. Just like butter, and it'll just continue going all the way down, making a new kind of little rhythm to everything. And we have obviously that big, what was this in May 3rd? That big move we had obviously May 3rd, like that needs to come back down, like come get at least half of that. So the coming down that you're saying makes sense to me for that reason. But then in the shorter 1 minute time frame, I would like this to continue doing high, low, and just keep on laddering up all the way. So same thing, just like with
Yeah.
gold, right? I'm not going to be trading it because we just got off that big move on Friday. So let's wait until tomorrow, see what London wants to do. At least the cool thing about it is that if it breaks and it goes down, we have a lot of room to get it. And there's going to be a ton of opportunity, especially as a scalper. If it breaks that low and it does what you're doing, perfect. Let it go down. I might miss one, but guess what? It's gonna go down, to then go a little bit up, to then continue going down. So it'll be like a sell. Like there's so much room for it to come down. We could get in, even if it's something like you trade, right? Where you're doing five pip, TP5s, whatever, big 1,000 pip, 1,500 pip, whatever moves, there's still easily three trades there we could take. Like by the where it's at right now, all the way down to that half, we could easily get three big sells there. So if it goes down for me, cool, we're gonna sell it and have multiple opportunities. If it goes up, that's great for the structure of it, but I feel we're going to have less opportunities, or the opportunities that we have are going to be much shorter for TPs. It's not going to be a big TP 3, 4, 5 if it wants to break high, but it'll definitely, I think we could see those big TPs if it breaks low. So it'll be
Yeah.
good. It'll be good for sure.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I was looking at on what was it from? Yeah, literally on Friday. This is like NFP time, right? We obviously had the big NFP move that you talked about here initially, right? And then this key level of 17,900 was really important. Obviously, number one, it's a psychological whole number, 17,900. On the higher time frames, we were looking at how price kind of reacted there a lot of times in the past. But from a structural perspective of what you're saying right now, for sure, like it was definitely pointing bullish, right? I think I used to make a mistake back then where I used to try to anticipate moves a lot and go counter trend or like contrarian, right? To what the market was showing. And that was something that always kind of messed me up. Like it's called selling tops and buying bottoms, right? Like you always trying to call the tops and the bottoms. And at the end of the day, you guys are a lot better off just continuing with what the price is showing you from a trend perspective versus thinking like, no, this is definitely end. We're gonna start sniping the top. At least for me, that was something that was holding me back a lot a few years ago with trading like smart money and all that stuff. Because again, you have a big move, right? We have this rejection of a whole level. We start seeing it push down, but you can see how once we kind of rejected it twice, this was not going to break below, and we kind of sat around here and pushed bullish again. So at this
Mhm.
point, there's no indication of anything bearish overall because in reality, we had this nice little pullback. We had a new high made in the market, and now we've kind of retraced back to the mean over here. So that's why I can definitely see the 1 minute buys that you're talking about to make a new high because at the end of the day, there's no evidence that we're actually ready to sell off yet. It's just an anticipation that I have, but at the end of the day, anticipations don't mean anything, right? We got to go with what price action is showing us. So I think that just from intuition and like just experience trading NAS, we need the confirmation first. But I think if we get some type of big push, I think we'll end up respecting this wick. I would need to see that first. And if we break cleanly below this level, that would really be the nice indication for me to feel comfortable with selling that. Obviously, tied in with my strategy or whatever of the range, which it's a lot of confluence there because that is the low of the range during Asia right now. So that this would be the perfect storm for me. to be selling. But again, we obviously have contingency plans. I talk about it all the time with you, Brent, on here and during our sessions, that we can't really marry one side of the market always, right? Because that can hold you back from missing out on a really good move. So if we do end up respecting this level here and we start breaking above this cleanly, then yeah, we can continue to ride this above. So time will tell, right? Again, for me personally, guys, my trading window is always going to be after 1 a.m. Eastern to about 5 p.m. the next day. And the reason for that is because I trade pretty much NAS and I will wait for this Asian range to fully develop. And then depending on the way that we are breaking above or below this range for the day will determine my bias, and then we can get in something. But I think me and Brent for sure are on the same page overall with NAS. So I hope that created some clarity for you guys as to what we could expect and where the high probability trades are for the week. So I think, I don't know, I kind of get the vibe that we might have some better stuff coming for NAS than gold, maybe for tomorrow or this week. But who
Yeah.
knows, right? We gotta see.
Yeah. Yeah. No, same. Like I see. And you said it was perfect with your drawing, right? Like the squiggly line up was so little versus the squiggly line is so much more down. So it's like, believe me, bro, I want us to go down too. We need to get that big candle that was there because that just gives us so many more trades we could send out if we get that with much longer TPs if it drops. But if not, then you'll get a bunch of little ones going up. But at the end of the day, like I
Yeah.
said, we go with the flow. We'll just make sure we do what we do. But yeah, it's going to be an exciting week. And like I said, the good thing without having so much news, we don't have to, it's one less thing we really have to be like back out our mind, actually, subconsciously, consciously, whatever you want to do. Adding that to the analysis. Now it's like, okay, cool. We don't have news for the next 3 days. Cool.
Yeah.
Let's just focus on what the charts are telling us and let's go with it. And if we have to hold the trade for a little bit longer, cool, so be it. There's no news. Like we can call the trade at 6 o'clock in the morning. Preferably, if we close it before 4 o'clock to not get hit with the swap, great. So be it. We don't have news all day. We could let it ride if we want to. So it'll be a good week for sure. We'll have to have patience. That's going to be our biggest challenge. I would say, at least for myself, the biggest challenge this week is going to be patience. Understanding that when I hit that trade, I can let it run. I have all day. There's not news. There's not this. Just chill out. Let it do what it has to do. So that's I think it's going to be that type of week.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I think sometimes if you guys are on here, maybe you're a little bit newer to trading in your first, year or whatever the case is, not all days are created equal in the market, right? Like we talk about, oh, the market has periods of consolidation or trends or this or that, but it's cool when you're studying it, when you're actually live in it, your emotions start to really kind of come out, right? And so there's days where people are like, oh my God, there's too many trades coming out. And then there's days where it's like, why aren't any trades coming out? And I have a feeling that this is going to be one of those weeks where if we start sending out a bunch of trades, it's going to be more forced than really what the market may give. And at the end of the day, guys, look, we're saying this, right? But we have to wait for that lights, camera, action to happen, right? No matter how much you try on a Sunday to kind of talk about what's going to happen, you don't know until you're in the trenches with it and you actually see price develop. But just from experience and kind of looking at all the factors that we have as far as news, and the fact that we just came off of multiple weeks of nonstop red folders, it's safe to say that the probabilities of us having a very slow market is probably upon us for the next couple of days. And knowing that, and if you guys really backtest your strategies, actually look at your trade history and look at when you did well, when you didn't do so well. I know with my strategy, like if we struggle, it's because it's a slow day or slow week in the market, and we're trying to trade every breakout, try to trade every impulse that we get that it looks like, okay, we're finally getting out of this rut that the market is in. And that's where we get a lot of fake outs, right? So we got to see, but I'm excited for it. Obviously, you guys are going to be hearing more and more as far as how we are structuring things like TTT and whatnot. Obviously, every decision that gets made within akashx, guys, is something that is a conglomerate, decision, something that everybody's on the same page with, something that we all come together and think it makes sense, and really for the benefit, right, of the members, right? It's never for the benefit of like the education team or CEOs or anything like that. It's always with the perspective of how can we create a better trading experience, a simpler trading experience, a lot less noise, a lot more, I'm not gonna say a lot more winning, but a lot more simplicity of how we win, how we lose, how to actually be more and more profitable with this system. So I think it's going to be a great idea. I think it's going to work out well. So we will continue to, put out information to you guys throughout the week as we also communicate with corporate and everything like that. But yeah, I don't know if you got any final thoughts, Brent, before we head up out of here.
Yeah, no, that's it. Just obviously have patience with it. You guys know that you're learning, and I've always been transparent with everything, right? The last trade that I sent, guys, I hit TP3, hit over 1,000 pips. Literally, I sat down. I didn't have planned to send it, guys. I didn't. My trading day hadn't started yet, like truly, because I was Friday. I don't even trade Fridays. I was like, you know what? I got nothing to do. I'm bored. Let me turn on the computer. Let me see where NAS is. And next thing you know, it's like, oh, damn, demand zone, high low. This is a news. Okay, you have to send it right away. Like a lot of times, that's how it is. And then there's other times where it's like, I'm gonna send a trade right now. I'm gonna send a trade, and I'm just looking. 2, 3 hours pass, and it's like, all right, there's nothing there. It's just more of us obviously and you gaining that ability throughout time. It'll be like that. It'll be a situation that by accident, next thing you know, you open trading view without even wanting to. You wanted to open TikTok and you ended up open trading view, and next thing you know, the trade is there. Like it's just something that pops up throughout time. You have to put in the time into it. You have to earn your luck. I learned that from Oliver Velez, all-time 30 plus year trader, whatever he recognized by Nasdaq. Luisito put me on to him a lot of times for mentorship stuff, and he says that it's earned luck. Literally, like his way of saying is that when the cat runs on top of your keyboard, it hits a buy and you win. It's earned luck. You have to put in the time, and that's really what it is. Like, there's nothing else than that, guys. There's not no magic that we could do into this. What we do, we just put in our time. We've earned our luck, and same thing. That's what you guys are doing. So continue to earn your luck too. Have patience to it. Understand it takes time. And yeah, just follow through your risk management plan. If you don't have one, that's going to be something key. You need to know your trading plan. You need to know your risk management plan. As far as getting everybody our 3 and free, that's something that everybody needs to have for sure. I know what we're going to be doing too is obviously more opportunity calls. You're going to see more just different stuff, right? And pay attention to our Instagrams, Telegrams, stuff like that that we drop out for you guys so you can share, track more people. This week I'll be doing 1 to 2 free live sessions on Telegram on through Zoom. I'll be dropping that on the Telegram. Something that of course I will be saying, hey, whoever invited you, make sure reach out to that person. It's not going to be, hey, I'm Brent, talk to me. No, it's gonna be, hey, whoever invited you to this call, reach out to them so you could join akashx, get in here to get your 3 and free. That's the whole purpose of it, is for you guys. Those Zooms, akashx pays me to go live on akashx, guys. Nobody pays me to go live on Zoom. I'm doing it because I want you guys to make sure that you could use that as a tool to invite people so they can actually see live trading. So it won't be, for me, it won't be much of an opportunity call. It'll be more of, hey, this is live trading. This is a live session. If you pay for akashx, you'd be doing this with me and 10 other educators just so they could actually see us in action. So I'll be bringing that to the table this week. But yeah, let's